I don't know if anybody, you may have caught wind on Facebook or otherwise, that the Sarah Club of Erie was scraping the bottom of the barrel and somehow selected your pastor to be the priest of the year. Well, thank you, yes. Yeah, it's certainly an honor, and I bring that up partially because I want to show you something, but also because it really is an affirmation of our community, our parish, our staff, everybody who stepped up during the pandemic. They really focused and said that was part of the recognition because of what we were able to do at OLP. And certainly, yes, I'm the one trying to lead the group, but everybody has to respond, and you have, and we thank everyone for their perseverance and the staff and all their support and everybody that stepped up. So I'm grateful. But the staff, they know how to brown nose, okay? So they got me a gift for that purpose, which they know how to please me. So they got me a sweatshirt that says, "Come and see." So I don't know if any of you would be familiar what this is from. I know this won't be shocking, but it's from The Chosen, okay? So I'm adding to my Chosen wardrobe that, remember, it's the largest crowd-funded series that ever, and so they're Come and See. This is their main campaign. It's based off of John, the beginning of John's gospel, when Andrew and Philip go to Jesus and say, "Rabbi, where do you stay?" And Jesus says, "Come and see." And that starts the revolution, right? That starts the great gathering of the church, the apostles that have grown to where we are to this day. One invitation at a time, one response at a time. And so they're trying to build up to 1 billion viewers, believe it or not. And they're at like 160 million on their app. You can follow it and see how many viewers. I don't know how they figure that out, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. So it's growing. It's amazing where it's come. And you may or may not be familiar, but the way they've funded it is so unique. The crowdfunding, they said, "Hey, watch it for free. If you have a positive experience and you want to help somebody else experience it, consider paying for an episode or do what you can to pay it forward." And they've managed to now fund 2 seasons of $10 million. The first season, I think 75,000 people were involved financially. The second season, 125,000 helped cover the $10 million. And now they're about 40% into their third season. They want to do 7 seasons. They've raised, over $20 million. It's really remarkable what one group has done in trying to help build the kingdom of God in this series on the life of Christ. Certainly not perfect, but it's a great instrument for helping people to come and to see, to learn about Jesus. And they kind of stole that concept of pay it forward. I think maybe it was around before this, but remember 2000, the movie Pay It Forward? Is that what it was called? And it was, I think Helen Hunt and Kevin Spacey were in it. I forget the name of the young guy. He's old now. He was a little redhead, I think, actor. I don't remember his name. But so Kevin Spacey was a social studies teacher. He says to his class, "Hey, I want you to come up with a project that'll change the world." And so the little actor, I don't remember, his project in 7th grade social studies, he says, "I'm going to do this Pay It Forward project. I'm going to do 3 things for somebody they can't do for themselves. And then when they ask, what they can do to thank me, I'll say, pay it forward to 3 people. Same criteria, that 3 people do something for 3 people they can't do for themselves." And the movie kind of explores the impact that can have, the ripple effect of just one young boy trying to do something to help change the world. And it reminds us that the impact of every act of grace and love, that we can't limit what God does through it. And to me, that's the heart of what the gospel parables are all about today, especially the mustard seed. And that little seed that if you've ever seen one, you almost, it's like a speck of pepper or something that grows into this great tree that can even house birds, etc. And this is the way the life of grace works. In the first reading we hear, if God is the one that's behind it, this is what he can do. He takes the lowly trees and makes them majestic. But then if it's trying to do it on our own, humankind, he takes those trees that try to be high on their own and they get knocked down. It can't work. And so that's the challenge we have in our own life of grace. I've talked about this just daily effort. It reminds me too, in I think it was in maybe a economics class or something, talking about compound interest in college, but they brought up the example, the question actually. It's a classic question. Maybe you've heard it. If you had the choice to take $1 million today or to take 1 penny and have it doubled every day for a year, which one would you take? And what would you take? The penny. You're just saying that now. It's because you know it has to be right. But did you really think about it? You talked to the other masses is what you did, right? I'm going to have to start saying you guys can't talk to each other. Somehow we got to bring it. No. So yes, it's the penny, but that can be surprising. And the tendency is, and especially in our world of immediate gratification, we say, take the $1 million. Absolutely. Give it to me now. I want it all. And we realize, as great as that can seem, it's so limiting. I actually looked this up. And when we did it in class as well, the amount, you would make $1 million doubling a penny every day just over a month, which is crazy to me. And the number you get to for a whole year, 365 days, has 18 commas versus the 2 commas of $1 million. Okay, I don't even know how to pronounce it. 375 quadrillion, I believe. Does anybody want to dispute that? You guys, I'm open to you guys correcting me. So anyway, it's this amazing number, and that it grows to. And you think about if we could do that in the life of grace. Remember, it's just the same person just has to keep doing one act every day. But then the people that they do it to, they start doing one act every day, and it keeps doubling, and we get to this place of an amazing accomplishment when we've all stayed consistent with it. Think about acts of charity in the life of grace. We tried to focus on that a little bit in the anniversary celebration, our 65th, when we did the acts of charity. And just to, where we had thousands of acts of charity, and to imagine the ripple that had in our community, and is still having, that we don't even see. But that's the life of the mustard seed. That's the life of grace. When we trust it to God and just do what we can, do our part, and not limit what God can do through that action. Sometimes we can feel like there's nothing we can do. Our vote doesn't matter. Our daily efforts don't matter. We look at the world, but that's not the message of the gospel. If we all do our part, the world can change. And it is changing, even though I know we'd love to see it change quicker. Maybe we'd rather see the $1 million right now in our generation so we could see it and have the gratification. But we got to be about a part of the human family, the Christian church that is doing those acts and slowly, slowly, slowly growing to quadrillions in grace. We're a part of that. We can be part of it. And so it's that daily approach to live today. This is where God is. He's not in the past. He's not in the future. He is in the eternal present. So it's the only place we can encounter him. So we try to focus on today and say, Lord, help me to meet you today and make the most of this day in your spirit and your grace. And, it kind of reminds me in the sacristy just about a year ago, we put up a sign. I've seen him in other sacristies, and I really love it, so we put it up here at OLP. It says, Priest of God, celebrate this Mass as if it's your first Mass, your last Mass, your only Mass. And sometimes that's not perfect, is it? But to try to give everything we can to this moment, we're here now to give God everything we can at this Mass, as imperfect and as incomplete as it might be, to do what we can. And he can take that and again, help change and transform the world. I think of Cursillo, if we're hoping that retreat program will get going again. That's my note with my quadrillion. So, but it's a great retreat program. Hopefully it'll get going soon. But they give out a pilgrim's guide, and they have a morning offering that they ask. They encourage you to say every day. And I always was very struck by it. I really love the morning offering, and it really reinforces what I'm talking about here. So I want to pray that for you. It says, this is the beginning of a new day. God has given to me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or I can use it for good. But what I do today is important because I am exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something that I have traded for it. I want it to be gain and not loss, good and not evil, success and not failure, in order that I shall not regret the price that I have paid for it. So if we could just think about those things, have faith that our God can use the mustard seed and grow it to great things, to great majestic cedars, as the first reading talks about, beyond our wildest imagination. So maybe what we can put up in our cars, our bathrooms, our bedrooms, our homes, what we can try to do this week to embrace this kind of concept of paying it forward. I hear God saying to us, sons and daughters of God, live today as if it's your first day, your last day, your only day.